Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, this is a buy video. Every week I do 2 buy videos, sometimes more when we see these big market dips like here. And I was depositing $1,000 a couple times, but we're back to where we were with the $100 deposits. And on Mondays, what I do is I let Auto Invest do the picking. What I mean by that is you can see the 3 different slices here. You can see the actual and the target. The target is the allocation percentage that I pick. So you can see this slice right here, the ETF slice, which contains SCHD and BST. And you can see right here that SCHD right now is underweighted. So I can bet that is where the money went to. And hey, if you're new to the channel, I recommend subscribing to this channel so you do not miss future videos. And the purpose of this channel is to show you a portfolio like this. This is a dividend portfolio that focuses on income, but also I want stock appreciation as well. I want my cake and eat it too. And that's why I don't just pick super high yielding dividend stocks. I want stocks that pay a decent dividend today, but also increase their dividend year after year, so my income just keeps going up. And I also have quality companies like Apple, Costco in there, Microsoft, that have a good history of stock appreciation. But right now my strategy is when I do retire, I just want to live off of the dividends alone. So we can see the performance of the portfolio over the last year. It's been decent with a money weighted return of 5.24% as of what the market's doing right now. But you look at that with the dividends added in, it's at 12.42%. And you can see we had this huge dip right here, and looks like we're recovering some. And we don't know what the future holds for us. But you can see we were down into the 240s and as high as the 280s. I know a lot of people want to panic and sell. And here's the problem with that. If we would have sold, let's say here, thinking that the market is going to keep on dropping, what happens is, where do we buy back in? If we sold at 248, do we then buy back in the 260s? Do you see where the problem is with that? I'm a buy and hold investor. I don't like to market time, things like that. Even though when I was doing those bigger deposits, you could call that a little bit of market timing. I just had some money on the sidelines when you have these big buying opportunities, and I put it to work for me. So let's go into the activity log. We're going to see what was purchased. We can see with that one buy, we likely know what that is. And it was with SCHD, and that $100 we'll see the number of shares, and it bought 3.90959 shares of SCHD. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go to my Google Docs spreadsheet, and I'll leave a link below to my Google Doc or my M1 Pi so you can see what's all in my portfolio, because we're going to go to the holdings tab here. So if you're curious to see what these 52 different positions are, I'll leave a link below to that, and also to this Google Docs spreadsheet where I track all the positions in the portfolio. You can see it has the company, ticker symbol, share price, the average share price I've paid for each position, the number of shares I own, and then here's the value if I were to sell today. Here's my cost basis. Here's my gain or loss, including dividends, and here is that gain or loss in a percentage. Anything above 25% will be in green, 0 to 25% will be in white, anything that's a loss will be in red. And you can see here's the dividends per share. Here's the current yield for to buy more shares of SCHD. And this is, of course, is based upon it's a 12-month rolling average now. I changed that. It used to be it would have been the Q1 2025 dividend, but I changed that just because SCHD's dividend is a little bit volatile, especially with a low dividend in Q1, then a higher dividend in Q2 and Q4 as well. But you can see here's the yield on my cost. Here's the pay date. Everything in the sheet is arranged by the pay date, and we are in April, and we are in the light colored greens because we are in Q1 or month 1 of Q2. So we can see here the dividends that have been paid so far, and you can see the sum is $66.29, and we have a lot more to go for April. You can see those are the upcomers, and this is not necessarily the next dividend that's going to happen, even though I have it marked as next dividend, because sometimes I purchase fractional shares or whole shares of positions after the X dividend date, so I don't put that amount in here until I've received it. And you can see here, here's the total dividends that have been paid to me. For like example, BST, that so far has paid me $11,772.96 in dividends, and it's going to pay me another $500 plus dividend at the end of April, and that's a monthly pair. Then O is a monthly pair, that's why it's in the blue there. We'll scroll up to SCHD, and we can see here is the dividend that we're up to right now. If SCHD is going to pay the same dividend in Q2, it's likely going to be a higher dividend because, again, I'm using the 12-month rolling average, and I'm guessing that the Q2 dividend in 2025 is going to be higher than what it was in 2024, but we'll see. And this could likely be higher. But since we bought those 3+ shares of SCHD, we're going to see the next dividend go up for SCHD, as well as the cash flow of the portfolio, the monthly, quarterly, and annual go up. So that's why I've typed that in here. We're going to see it go up over here. Same with the next dividend over here on SCHD. What I'm going to do is going to grab the information from M1, and technically I think I only have to just grab this information for SCHD and then not the rest. But what I do is I usually grab all the information and start from the name column, go all the way down in case I bought different positions in here, and it would update the shares, the average price, and the cost basis for everything on this sheet using a VLOOKUP on the M1 data tab. And for example, like the shares, you can see the VLOOKUP, M1 data tab, and it's pulling it for MCD. It's doing a search on that, and it pulls at 7.96. So let's go to the M1 data tab. We'll do a quick pay special. And what it's going to do is it's going to change really essentially just these values because SCHD is right there on top because that is my largest position in this portfolio. In this portfolio, this is about 15% of my current net worth. So we've done that pay special in there. We'll go to the dividend portfolio tab and we'll see the SCHD change. And so we've moved from the old dividend from $9.6715. Again, that is going to be based upon the dividend per share here, $9.6715 to $9.6817. So a little over $1 there. Oops, wrong one, deleting there. We want to delete this one. Then we're going to see the monthly, quarterly, and annual change as well. So we're moving from $1,070.05 for the monthly income of the portfolio to $1,070.39, and then quarterly is moving from $3,210.15 to $3,211.17, and then the annual is moving from $12,840.62 to $12,844.70. So we're going to take that monthly rate, the $1,070.39, and we're going to put that in the monthly average dividend tracking tab. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom here and put that $1,070.39. And the event was a $100 deposit, and that added 34 cents of monthly income. You can see other events in here like dividend drips. And when I was doing these $1,000 deposits, there were 3 of those. You can see what those did to the monthly income and it moved it more significantly. You can see here is the Procter & Gamble just had a 5% dividend increase, another $1,000 buy. Merck did dividend drip. There's a $1,000 deposit there and moved the needle at $7.77. There's actually a $2,000 one here. So it looks like with the dip, I dropped $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. So $5,000 I put to work for me in this portfolio when things were down. And who knows? And if you didn't buy that dip, you may have missed it. But who knows? Also, we could have another dip, and one that could be even more severe. So that's why I still have even more money on the sidelines. So let's go to the dividend tracker tab. And this kind of shows the historicals with the portfolio. And when I started doing these videos back in January 2021, you can see I have like the year color coded here. We're getting darker as we go to each year. And the portfolio value as well, you can see how that's climbed. And then the dividends being paid every month. And March is the last complete month I got paid. You can see my March dividends were $1,754.45. You can see how that's just going up. Then April, we're not done yet. We'll see what that is. Again, subscribe to the channel and you can see that video. And I show you the actual proof. I go into M1, I go to the activity log, and I show you the proof of receiving those actual dividends into the account rather than just reading from a spreadsheet, which a lot of people do. And I don't like that. I want to see the actual proof of people, with their investments. And you can see here are the dividends received so far for the month of April. Here is the new updated average monthly dividend. We've increased that monthly dividend by $39.62 just in April. And that's for a month-over-month gain of 3.84%. Here's the annual dividends. Here is the annual increase to the dividend income just in the month of April alone. We've put in another $100. It looks like I'm missing $1,000 in here. I'll have to go back and revise that because we went back and we saw the $5,000 that was put in to the account with the buys. So I think I just may have forgotten to do that. I'll update that later. So we'll close out this video. We'll go over my total net worth, which is recovered somewhat. And this is the other, I'll show you the other 85% of my net worth. Over at Vanguard, I have tried and true ETFs over there like VTI, VX, US, VU, VUG, VYM, things like that have done quite well for me. Here's the value over there at Vanguard. This is, of course, taking a hit. We're down to $437K. Here is my current employer 401k. It's all in a Fidelity S&P 500 index at 93K. And at M1, I also have a pretty sizable IRA there, and the value there is $649K. Here is the dividend portfolio that we went into at length. Here is my cash right now in M1, and some of this has gone away because of the deployments of buying this dip, as well as a car I bought. I bought a Mustang GT and paid that sucker off, so don't have any debt on that. Here is my 1-year emergency fund over at Synchrony, and here is like 2 months of expenses over at Capital One. Here's a little bit over US Bank and a checking account. Then here's the value of my home, and then here's liabilities. This is the current balances on a couple credit cards here, the US Bank one, and then my FMBO card. But I pay these balances off every single month, so I do not accrue interest. But here's the real debt, really. It's just in my home, and my home mortgage, that's what remains there, the $173K. Here's my total net worth subtracting out the liabilities at 1.6. You can see the breakdown here. Stocks, home equity, and cash. Cash is taking a dip, and it's going to take a little bit more of a dip tomorrow. I'm going to go register my car where I pay the sales taxes and the registration fees, and that's going to be well over $2,000, I'm predicting. So I'm going to be about $70K, and I'm just going to work to try to build up that cash cushion once again. You can see the breakdown between pre-tax, after-tax, U.S. and international. We can see here is the average monthly dividend from all sources, including interest. That took a little bit of a hit because of that cash I burned on the car. And you can see, though, my net worth from November 2022, how it's gone up, way up, and then back down, starting from the 1.2 and then going as high as we were in the 1.8s, just as recent as February. And then March we took a hit, back down to the 1.7s, and then now we're in the 1.6s. We'll see where we end up at the end of April. So what I do is I take the balance at the last day of each month. So we'll see. But I'm confident, though, over time I'm going to get back in the 1.8s and even higher, back in, or even up to 1.9, 2 million. It's just over time it's going to keep going up and to the right. But we have just these dips in here. We'll go back to the portfolio here and just kind of take a look at a big dip like this that happened, but really look how short-lived it's been to recover somewhat. We've gotten a little bit, maybe about half-ish of that back from the 270s, but we certainly have not recovered from here. So we have a ways to go to recover to the February 20th high there, but it's just going to take some time. We'll see. With all this tariff business and noise, we should be looking at this as just a great buying opportunity and dollar cost average into your portfolios. At least that is what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to do that. The only change I see coming is where I may pull back on some of the buying that I'm doing. And then after that, I'm going to have to start pulling back the actual dividends to help me out, probably with taxes, things like that. But we'll see, though. If I'm employed with my same employer, I'm still going to be able to contribute to the portfolio as well as pay for those taxes at the end of each year. If something happens or I decide to go part-time or even pull back entirely for a little bit or take a sabbatical, who knows, I will probably have to pull back some of these dividends. But that is what this portfolio is for. I'm not going to be selling any shares. I don't foresee that happening. I mean, something really catastrophic would have to happen to me. I'm not going to be one of those influencers on here too where I just cash out the entire portfolio either and just go a different direction, because I'm sold on this strategy of dividends, a dividend growth portfolio. We're going to grow those dividends as well as grow the price, or how much it's worth. I want this 262K portfolio to grow to even higher highs. So that's what I show you guys for this video. Was what I bought with my $100 deposit. It was SCHD, in case you missed it, and that's based upon the allocations. In my Thursday video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 5 different stocks and put $20 into each of those for another $100 deposit. So thanks for watching this video. Thanks for sticking to the end of the video. If you got value from it, please click the like button. Also subscribe so you do not miss future videos. Everyone take care. Everyone have a great week.